All right, all honor, praises, and glory goes to the Most High, the Father, the highest. Thus saith Christ the Messiah. He's the master teacher. He says the only true God is the Father. And that's who you should be praising. You shouldn't listen to no other man who ever walked this earth telling you who God is. You should listen to the master teacher. Listen to the one who died and his soul was offered as an offering for sin. I think he would know who the real God is, who's the true God, and not these doctrines that are out there. So all praises go to the Father, and only him shall you praise. All right, this particular video is going to be part one in a mini series called Unlocking Paul's Writings. Some of the best pastors and scholars in Christianity just zip right through Paul's writings and they miss a lot because they don't keep any precepts. So of course I'm gonna go through it, and it will have precepts supporting scriptures. A lot of the prophets talked about a lot of the same things. All you got to do is match it up to get a full understanding. Here a little, there a little, precept upon precept, line upon line. Here a little and there a little. All right, so this particular chapter is going to be chapter 9 of Romans. But before I go to chapter 9, I will preface this with chapter 1 of Romans, which says 1 through 6. I'm not sure if Paul even wrote that, because this is a letter, and a letter begins with the salutation. And the salutation begins at verse 7, and it says, using the online Bible, it says, "To all that be in Rome, beloved of God, called to be the saints." Okay, stopping right there. To all that be in Rome, beloved of God. Who did God say he loved in Rome? When you look at the Old Testament, he has no covenant with anybody in Rome. So it has to be a specific group of people who he particularly loved that's in Rome that Paul is writing to. It's not just average Gentiles, because he has established no covenant with Gentiles, whether in the Old Covenant or in the New Covenant. There is no words in the Bible that says that the Most High God has a covenant with Gentiles. Let me continue. To all that be in Rome, beloved of God, called to be the saints. There it is right there, the saints in Rome. Grace to you and peace from God our Father. That lets you know who the Father is, who God is right there. Even Paul knows. Grace to you and peace from God our Father. That's who God is, the Father, comma, and the Lord Jesus Christ. Well, the only people in the book called the saints were the Israelites. I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to go to Deuteronomy 33 to provide a precept, so you know I'm not just speaking off of my own or leaning on my own understanding. I'm letting the Bible dictate what the New Testament is talking about, not me thinking what I want to think or being passed down this information from somebody who oppressed my people and just threw himself in the Bible like it's all about him. It's not. He didn't go into slavery in kingdom after kingdom, including this one. What does he have to be saved from? What is Christ redeeming them from? You know, they obliterate all their enemies. What do you need to be saved from? So Deuteronomy 33, you can stop it, pause it. Of course, I use the online Bible because I can access the scriptures faster. So Deuteronomy 33 and 1 says, "And this is the blessing wherewith Moses, the man of God, blessed the children of Israel before his death," because Moses died in Moab. He didn't get the chance to go into the land flowing with milk and honey because he was always bucking against God. When God gave him a commandment, you know, he would do it. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times it was a lot of lip. He didn't just hear it and do it like Abraham. You know, so for that, I believe it's for that reason that the Most High said, "You will not be going into the land flowing with milk and honey." All right. Deuteronomy 33:1 says, "And this is the blessing wherewith Moses, the man of God, blessed the children of Israel before his death. And he said, the Lord, the Father, came from Sinai and rose up from Seir unto them." That's mountains near Israel. It's a whole land that was allotted to Esau. And he shined forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000s of his saints. There goes that word. From his right hand went a fiery law for them. So who was the law given to? Who did God write the law with his fingers for? He wrote it for the Israelites. Those are the saints. Verse 3, yet he loved the people. All his saints are in thy hand, and they sat down at thy feet. Everyone shall receive thy words. And Moses commanded us a law, even the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob. So the Israelites are the only saints in the entire Bible. It never changed. It's not all of a sudden the Christian church. Most High never established a covenant with the Christian church. It's with the Israelites, his chosen, his elect. All right, now moving into Romans chapter 9. The series is called Unlocking Paul's Writings. Chapter 9. This is Paul, and like I said, a lot of scholars have read this chapter, and their eisegesis of it is just insane. It makes literally no sense how they just zip through these scriptures without explaining a thing. But I'll do it. And shout out to the brothers that push the truth, risking their life, because you will be hated for Christ's name's sake, and they are. All honor and glory goes to you too, hopefully, at the end of this thing. Thank you for your works. You know what I'm saying? I say it all the time. I'm not ashamed. I don't care what nobody think. All right, Romans 9 starting at verse 1 says, I say the truth in Christ, I lie not. I'm not lying. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Ghost, that I have a great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. This is Paul talking. For I wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my brothers, my kinsmen, my kinfolk, according to the flesh. That did not say according to the Spirit. He says, I wish I were accursed from Christ for my bloodline. What's a curse? He wish he can bear the burden of what Christ went through for the Israelites, because Christ is an Israelite. He came through the line of Judah. For I wish myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh. Verse 4, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, the glory, the covenants, the giving of the law, the service of God, and the promises. Paul says all those things pertain to the Israelites. Pertain means belongs. So the glory belongs to the Israelites. Let me pause here, go to 2 Chronicles 7. What is the glory? The glory is the almighty presence and power of Yahweh, the Father, and the revealing of his works. When he reveals his power and his works and his mighty strength, he do it in the presence of the Israelites. No other nation, which is nationality, no other nation has been able to summon the Father and him show his power through them. It's only happened through the Israelites. So this is 2 Chronicles 7:1. It says, now when Solomon had made an end of praying, the fire came down from heaven and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifices, and the glory of the Lord filled the house. And the priest, let me look on this one because my screen's messing up. And the priest, what did the priest do? Hold on. And the priest could not enter into the house of the Lord because the glory of the Lord had filled the Lord's house. And when all the children of Israel saw how the fire came down and the glory of the Lord upon the house, they bowed themselves with their face to the ground upon the pavement and worshipped and praised the Lord, praised Yahweh, or y'all say Yahweh, saying, for he is good, his mercy endureth forever. That is the glory. That belongs to the Israelites. So that belongs to the Israelites. The covenants belong to Israelites, both the old covenant and the new covenant. You can find the tenets of the new covenant in Hebrews 8:8. And the service of God we all know is literally the ministry. The ministry of God belongs to the Israelites. So no man should be on stage calling himself a minister or a pastor doing any of the ministry of the Lord unless he's an Israelite. That means no sacrifices, which we're not doing right now. Sacrificing for sins goes through Christ's blood, who was the Lamb of Israel, of the Israelites, not of the Israelis. You should know my stance on that by now. But the service of God goes through the Israelites. No pastor can be a pastor unless he's of the seed. The only one to break that covenant was Christ. He wasn't a Gentile, he was an Israelite. And he wasn't under the Levitical priesthood. He came through the order of Melchizedek, the Melchizedek priesthood. Other than that, the only priest could be Levites, period. So let's get a precept on that before I move on back to Romans. Jeremiah 33, you can stop, pause, do whatever you're going to do, or just take notes. You can check everything that I tell you on this video, something that pastors don't do. I'm not talking about all pastors. Obviously, you got some that keep precepts. Even Geno Jenkins keeps precepts on most of his teachings. You ask him, can you eat pork? He ain't keeping no precepts on that until the end, because he'll say if you teaching against meat, you have a doctrines of devil. Nobody asks about eating meat. We said pork. You know what I'm saying? Not fish, not beef, not chicken. Pork. Something that he specifically said don't eat. That's neither here or there. But the service of God, Jeremiah 33, starting at 17, says, for thus saith the Lord, David, as in King David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. He don't want anybody to be king. Neither shall the priests, the Levites, want a man before me to offer burnt offerings and to kindle meat offerings and to do sacrifice continually. They don't want nobody else to be priests before the Most High God. 19, and the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah, saying, thus saith the Lord, if ye can break my covenant of day and my covenant of the night, and that there should be not night and day in their season, then also my covenant be broken with David my servant, that he should not have a son to reign upon his throne, and with the Levites, the priests, my ministers. As the host of heaven cannot be numbered, neither the sand of the sea measured, so will I multiply the seed of David, my servant, and the Levites that minister unto me. So the Levitical priesthood continues forever. And you cannot be a minister or a pastor unless you are a Levite. They perform the services of God. Now, it does say that the Israelites are a nation of priests. So Judites, Naphtali, Asher, Simeon, Reuben, all of them can prophesy, pray, and teach, but the priesthood still belongs to Levi. Going back to Romans 9. Picking up at 4. Who are Israelites, to whom belongeth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of God and the promises. All the promises were given to Israel. Israelites, Zion, Jeshurun, Jacob. Those are all synonymous with the Israelites. The promises being, here's some of the promises, being raised as the highest nation on the earth. That if they were to go into battle, wherever they step their foot, they can take that land. To be over everybody on the face of the earth. To be given the land flowing with milk and honey. And that God would be a God unto them, and they would be children unto him. Those promises were given to them. They weren't extended to anybody else. If anybody else, meaning the Gentiles, who most people who watch this video, I don't believe you're a Gentile. I don't have Gentiles on my Facebook. If your daddy, through the bloodline of your daddy, goes back to the slave, I truly believe in my heart you are an Israelite. You just don't know it. You don't know who the heck you are. Somebody asks you what your nationality is or what your nation is, you're going to say, I'm a child of God. That's what you do. We are the only people that think that your race don't matter, because we literally think we don't matter. But you do matter. It's all about you. You're the only one that fits these curses in this Bible. But pray on it, fast, hopefully the Most High open your eyes, your spiritual eyes, and you'll be able to unlock the mysteries of this Bible too. So moving on, back to the Bible. Who are Israelites to whom pertaineth the adoption, being adopted back in if your bloodline was cut off and you were made like unto the Gentiles? The grafting in belongs to the Israelites. The glory, the covenants, the giving of the law, the service of God, and the promises. Verse 5, whose are the fathers, and of whom as concerning the flesh Christ came. Did you hear what that just said? It didn't say Christ came for those in the spirit. He said he came concerning the flesh, his own bloodline, something I say often in my videos. Paul acknowledges this. Paul is a Benjamite. He's just not a Roman citizen, and he damn sure ain't a white man. And I can prove that easily. All right. Whose are the fathers, and of whom as concerning the flesh Christ came, who was over all, God blessed forever. Amen. Now, that's who he came for, the Israelites. Now, remember, Christ said it himself back in Matthew 15:24. He said, but he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. You want to know who the lost sheep are? Go to Jeremiah 50 and start reading, and you'll find out who the lost sheep are. It's all about the Israelites. Okay, back to Romans, verse 6. Not as though the word of God had taken none effect, for they are not all Israel who are of Israel. They are not all Israel who are of Israel, which are of Israel. This is a very famous retort from those in Christianity trying to say that, oh, it's not all about the Israelites. They're not all Israel who are of Israel, but they have no precepts for it. Instead, they'll give you a nice little shovel and dance on what they think that means, but they don't know what it means because they have no history of what went on in the Bible. They are not all Israel which are of Israel. What does that mean? It means everybody who was in Israel, who may dwell in Israel, or whose dealing has to do with the Israelites or have to do with that land, are not all Israelites. Why am I saying that? Because during the time of Christ, they were under persecution, oppression, and being ruled over by the Romans. It was the Greco-Roman captivity, Greco-Roman Empire. Right before Rome took over, Greece had them. This is literal history. Turn to Matthew 2. Let's get some precepts on this. Turn to Matthew 2, and I'll do it on the online Bible. And I'll prove it. I'll prove everything I'm saying. So this is Matthew chapter 2, verse 1. It says, Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king. Herod is the king of Judea? Let's make that make sense. Behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born king of the Jews? So he's asking about somebody whose birthright is for him to rule over Judea. Little did he know, or maybe he did know, rule over the world. But he knew the child that was to come was to be king. For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. So this was Herod, the king of Judea. What is Herod, who is not an Israelite, doing as the king of Judea? Let's pull up Herod in the lexicon. And if you have one, that's fine. I'm pulling one up right here. You can check this out. This is in the Blue Letter Bible, which you can find online. But check any historical source on Herod should have this information. And I want you to check it out. It says Herod, the name of a royal family that flourished among the Jews in the time of Christ and the apostles. Herod the Great was the son of Antipater of Idumea. Idumea is a Greek word for Edom. Edom, the Edomites came through the loins of Esau. Herod was an Edomite. Herod was not an Israelite, but he was king over Judea. Not all people of Israel are of Israel. I'm making it make sense. Appointed king of Judea in 40 BC by the Roman Senate at the suggestion of Antony, with the consent of Octavian, he at length overcame great opposition. They didn't want him to be king, which the country made to him, and took possession of the kingdom 37 BC. After the battle of Actium, he was confirmed by Octavian, whose favor he ever enjoyed. Octavian is Caesar Augustus. He was the first Roman emperor, reigning from 27 BC until he died in 14 AD. All right, Herod. Herod was a brave, skilled in war, learned, and sagacious. That means he can discern things. He was pretty sharp. He was pretty keen, but also extremely suspicious and cruel. He hence destroyed the entire Roman family of Hasmoneans, put to death many of the Jews that oppose his government. Now, why would they oppose his government? Because in the law, no one is supposed to reign over Judea or Israel unless they are through the line of Judah. They had to be a Judite. Like Christ, who is a Judite, he sprang from Judah, as it says in Hebrews. Herod was a foreigner, oppressing and reigning over people that were not his people. He tried to marry into the family. But that doesn't make you an Israelite. And when he has a child, it doesn't make your children Israelite, because it goes through the bloodline of the daddy according to the law. Those people in Israel right now still think they don't know how to unpack this Bible. They think it has to come through the line of your mom. It goes through the line of your dad. That's how you're an Israelite, through the bloodline of your father. So let me turn to Genesis 49 real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. 49, I'm going to preface at verse 1. And it says, "And Jacob called unto his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you what shall befall you in the last days." Skipping down to verse 10. It says, "The scepter shall not depart from Judah." So that means kingship, rulership, being ruled over, being a ruler over the people. They have to come from the line of Judah. "Nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh comes." Shiloh is a place, but it's also an epithet for the Messiah. The Messiah is literally prophesied in Genesis. "And unto him shall be the gathering of the people be," and shall be the gathering of the people be. So even right here in verse 10 is given a prophecy that Christ is going to be the one to gather the sheep in the end times, in the last days. Unto him shall be the gathering of the people be. Why is this not Gentiles? Because at verse 1, Jacob said, "Come here, sons, so you can know what shall befall you in the last days." Jacob, who is Israel, he had an encounter with an angel and his name got changed to Israel. His sons make up the 12 tribes of Israel. Is it making sense? So Herod should not have even been king of Israel. That's why they opposed his rulership. Let me get one more precept. Let me go to First Chronicles 17 and 7. I'm going to zip through this because for the sake of time, I don't want to prolong the point. This is Prophet Nathan prophesying to King David about rulership in Israel over the Israelites. It says, "Now therefore thus shalt thou say unto my servant David, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, even from following the sheep, that thou should be ruler over my people Israel." Excuse me. So he's literally saying, David, I took you from being a sheep herder to being king. "And I have been with thee whithersoever thou hast walked, and have cut off all thine enemies from before thee, and have made thee a name like the name of the great men that are in the earth. Also I will ordain a place for my people, and will plant them the planting, and they shall dwell in their place, and shall be moved no more, neither shall the children of wickedness waste them any more, as at the beginning. And since that time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, moreover I will subdue thine enemies. I will knock them off, kill them. Furthermore, I tell thee that the Lord will build thee an house. And it shall come to pass when thy days be expired, that thou must go to be with thy fathers when he dies. And I will raise up thy seed after thee, which shall be of thy sons, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build me an house, and I will establish his throne forever. I will be his father, he shall be my son, and I will not take my mercy away from him as I took it from him that was before thee, and I will settle him on mine house and in my kingdom forever. His throne shall be established forevermore. So not only was Herod not from the line of Judah, nor any of the 12 tribes, his rulership wasn't his birthright. Right there, that covenant that he made basically is saying, not only do you have to be of the line of Judah, you have to be from the house of David. So he narrowed it down even more. So not even just a Judite, you have to come from this one man's loins, King David, not any of the Judites in Israel. You know what I'm saying? You have to come through the house of David. So back to Romans 9, at verse 6, not as though the word of God had taken none effect. They are not all Israel which are of Israel. I just proved Herod was in Israel, ruled over them, but he's not of Israel. That is what that's talking about. Not just making up something out of your own mind. Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called. It's talking about who the chosen line is. Not just because they come from Abraham are they of the chosen seed. This is clear. Abraham had Ishmael with Hagar, the bondwoman. Of course, he had Isaac with Sarah, the free woman. And he also had Ishbak, Zimran, Midian, Medan, Shua, Jokshan, all from his third wife, Keturah. After Sarah died, he had another wife. Paul is saying just because these guys are of the seed of Abraham, that don't make them the chosen seed. But in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So you have to not only be from Abraham, you have to go through Isaac. It gets better. Verse 8, that is they which are the children of the flesh, Ishmael, Jokshan, Zimran, Medan, Midian. That is they which are the children of the flesh. These are not the children of God. Aren't they Gentiles? But they're not the children of God. Make it make sense. But the children of the promise are counted for the seed. And Isaac shall thy seed be called. They have to come through Isaac. That is, I already read that. Verse 9, for this is the word of promise. At this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son, Isaac. Not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even our father Isaac, so is now moving to Isaac's marriage with Rebekah. Hold on, I'm losing my place. Not only this, but when Rebekah conceived by one, even our father Isaac, for the children not being born yet, this is talking about Rebekah's pregnancy with those twins, neither having done any good or bad, good or evil, that for the purpose of God according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. As it is written in the Old Testament, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. That is the Most High God saying, I hate a people. I hate them. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. God does not love everybody. It is written, and ain't nothing you can do that's going to change him. Remember, the Most High is the one that's omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. He's the only one. So if he says he hates a nation of people, you better believe there's a good reason for it, and you need to stay out of it. So this is confirming that not only does it have to go through Isaac, it has to go through Jacob. If you want to know the story of how they were born, go to Genesis 25, starting at 21. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Esau was hated by God before he did anything on the earth. He was created to be the wicked. I just read, let me move back just a little bit and read it one more time. For the verse, this is verse 11, for the children not yet born. They haven't even been born yet. What could he have done? Bit his brother in the womb? For the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that for the purpose of God, according to election, he was elected to be the wicked on the earth. According to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth, it was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. Esau shall serve Jacob. What is that symbolic of? That's symbolic of Christ's kingdom, because Christ comes through the line of Jacob. Esau's going to serve Christ. He's going to serve the Israelites in the end, right? As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So where does it say that God hates Esau? Let's get a quick precept on that. Let me turn to Malachi. It's the last book of the Old Testament. Malachi 1. You can press pause or you can stay right there with me. Or turn it off. You can do whatever you want to do. I know some people can't take the fact that the Most High hates somebody. Yeah, you've been getting lied to for a long time. This is your favorite apostle, Paul. Your favorite apostle. This is where people in Christianity, they go to Paul for all things. This is him confirming that. Malachi 1, the burden of the word of Yahweh to Israel by Malachi the prophet. I have loved you, saith the Lord, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob. Verse 3, and I hated Esau. This is the Lord saying this. And laid his mountains and heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, that's Esau, that's the line of Esau, the Edomites. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness. They were elected to be the wicked. And the people whom the Lord hath indignation forever, have a righteous hatred forever. They cannot be saved. Only a nut would believe that Christ would come and try to undo what the Most High said he already elected them to be hated, to be destroyed off the face of the earth. Read Obadiah. They can't be saved. Christianity is lying. So, I have another precept, but let me continue. They have his wrath forever. Back to Romans 9, it says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God? So God, this is God saying, say something. I said I hate somebody. What you gonna do? Is there unrighteousness? Are you calling me? You want to put your foot in your mouth and call me unrighteous? God forbid. For he said to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So it don't matter if you think I should forgive anybody of the line of Edom. I'm going to have mercy on who I want to have mercy on. You ain't changing nothing. That's what God is saying. That's what he told Moses. And this is what Paul is putting out there in his letters. So it is not of him that willeth or him that runneth, but of God that showeth mercy. Only the Father can make his mind up whether he going to forgive somebody. You know what I'm saying? Or show mercy or compassion. It's going to come through him, not you. For the scripture saith unto Moses, even for this same purpose, I have raised thee up. This is the same reason why Edom has been brought to the highest you can bring him up. You know what I'm saying? He raised Esau up in the end times to be the greatest kingdom on the earth. It's literally saying this right here in 17. For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh. Pharaoh was the ruler of Egypt, the greatest kingdom the earth has ever seen at that time. He's saying this is for the same purpose that I rose you up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. So how was the Most High's name declared throughout all the earth? Through Pharaoh, by destroying them and redeeming the Israelites. by sending them a deliverer, a savior. Right. Sent them a deliverer. Okay. 17. For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. Right? So a lot of people was like, or thinking probably like, wait, God is love. He wouldn't raise nobody up to kill them or to bring them down. Yeah, you apparently have not been reading. He is love. God is love, but he only declared his love for the Israelites. So let me get a precept for this. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32. Excuse me, Deuteronomy 32. Picking up at 39. Oh, I'm tired, boy. Deuteronomy 32:39 says, See now I, even I am he, there is no God with me. I kill, I make alive. I wound, I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hands. This is the Most High saying, I kill, I make alive. I'll wound you, I'll heal you, I'll do whatever. It's me. I do it all, is what he's saying. And there's nobody that can save you from me, because he is the Most High. Only the Most High can say stuff like that. He is basically saying, do you know who or what you serve? You need to know what real submission is. I do what I want. That's what the Most High is saying. He's the only one that's omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, all-knowing, all-powerful, and in every place at one time. He sees it all. You don't. All you know what's going on in your life. So you thinking based on your little bit of experience on this earth that the Most High need to do what you want him to do for him to be the Most High. You don't get judged, man. You need to know what real submission is. Because if you got a problem or don't accept the Most High's will, I don't know how you even call yourself saved. Because if you think you're going to be saved and you got an objection with the Most High's will, you need to read the gospel over with. Read what Christ was telling the Israelites. You know what I'm saying? During his walk. Read that over with, because you've been getting lied to your whole life if you got a problem with the Most High's will. Don't read what I've been reading and be like, oh, but God. This is God saying this. That's Christianity for you, whatever. Anyway, see now that I, even I, am he, there is no God with me. This is what the Most High is saying. I kill, I make alive, I wound, I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hands. For I will lift up my hand to heaven, and I say, I live forever. If I whet my glittering sword, and my hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to kill mine enemies, and will reward them that hate me. This is the Most High. So yes, he can raise up somebody just to kill them. You apparently don't know who you serve. You probably serve white Jesus. The symbol of this white man with a panda in his hand, and he's a symbol of truth and peace and love. But you never seen one person look like that in all the earth that brought forth truth, peace, and love. You just never seen it. Why would you even fathom that the Most High, that the Son of God looks like that? Growing up in Africa until Herod the Great died. So he growing up in Africa. Ain't no AC, ain't no sunblock. In Africa. But yeah, that's a stringy, dog-haired, blue-eyed white man is your savior. You don't get judged, man. The white man already gonna get judged. I know y'all don't believe that, but it really don't matter. My job is to tell it. If you don't want it, you don't want it. It don't matter. But I told you, because telling you is love according to the Bible. So rebuking is love according to the Bible. Back to Romans 9. For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for the same purpose have I raised thee up, that I may show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. Therefore he hath mercy on whom he'll have mercy, and he will harden and whom he will harden. So he'll harden his heart on anybody. It's all his will. But thou wilt say unto me, why doth he yet find fault? For who has resisted his will? Nay, but O man, who art thou to reply us against God? Who are you to reply, to have a comment? Who are you to retort something that the Most High said? That's what Paul is saying. Who art thou to reply us against God? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? So shall the created thing talk back to the creator and ask the creator, why have you done this to me? Why did you make me this way? No, he'll do what he want to do. It gets better. I want you to see. Verse 21, have not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? So he's making one vase. You know what? This is a nice one. I'm going to put this over there and I'm going to cherish that vase and all my great things I'm going to put in it. And then create this one here and like, this is not my best work. You know what? I don't even like it, man. Let me discard this. That's what Paul is likening that metaphor to God's creation. Only you think that God wouldn't do that. Paul understand, you just don't. Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Have not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? Right. So how can anybody speak against the Most High's will? Potter, have not the potter power over the clay? Let me pull a precept in Isaiah 64. It says, but now, O Yahweh, thou art Father. That lets you know right then who the Most High God is, the Father. But now, O Lord, thou art Father. We are the clay and thou art potter. We all are the work of thy hands. So cannot the potter do what he wants with the vessels that he create? Yes, he can. Back to Romans 9. What if God willing to show us, but it's verse 22. What if God willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? I hope you heard that. What if God, willing to show his wrath, storing up all this wrath, he endured all the evil and wickedness of these one people and long suffered all that just in the end so he can destroy them because they were fit for destruction? That's what Paul is saying. And that he might make his power, he might make known the riches of his glory, his presence, and his power, and his works that he performs in the presence of his people, the glory. And that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto glory. This is talking about the Israelites. What if, I'm going to repeat 22 and 23 again because it can get confusing. Please listen. What if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known all over the earth, he endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath, the vessels that have done nothing but perform wrath all over the earth, just killing off people? You know who he's talking about. You know what he's talking about. He's prophesying the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction, and that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy. Oh, you got to forgive them, brother. They ain't all bad. Which he had afore prepared unto glory. So what if God has sat there and endured all this wrath that the Edomites have done on the earth just so he can show his power by destroying them, lifting them up like he lifted up Egypt so he can make his power known by coming through and destroying them in his wrath? This is one of the best prophecies I've ever read in this Bible. You just got to unlock it. Unpack what Paul is saying. It's not love. Where you don't see that in the Bible. I'm not going to judge you. Just shut up, man. Just stop lying to the people to get profits for filthy lucre's sake. You guys are going to get destroyed. The sheep need to know, and the pastors of the day just ain't doing it. Let me get Jeremiah 23. 23 and 3. And it says, "And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all the countries whither I have driven them, and bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall there be lacking, saith Yahweh the Father. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is the name where he shall be called the Lord our righteousness. And therefore, behold, the days cometh, saith the Lord, that they shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, but the Lord liveth that brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, from all the countries whither I had driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land." This is basically a precept of what Paul is saying. Not only is God going to be known for what he did in Egypt by redeeming the Israelites, but he's storing up wrath so he can redeem the Israelites from this north country. That's one of the greatest empires you ever seen on the earth. Is it making sense, people? Is it making sense? And who's ruling over that north country? Edom. And not just that north country either. I hope it's making sense. Back to Romans 9. Now here's where the Christians and Christianity start to come with their doctrine. They've ignored 1 through 23 and go right over here to 24. And it says, "Even us whom he had called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles." See, it ain't about the Jews only, it's the Gentiles. My goodness. "As he saith also in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not my beloved." See, there it is. It ain't all about the Israelites. It's about the Gentiles too. He loves us. He loves us all. So are we going to act like we did not read 1 through 23 just because we come to 24 and it says not the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles? 25 says, "As he saith also in OC." OC is a Greek way of saying Hosea. You don't have to believe me. Type OC in Google and see what pops up. "As he saith also in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not beloved. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living God." So let's go to Hosea and see who these Gentiles were that Paul is referring to. Or is he talking about Moab or Ammon or Ishmael or all the Egyptians or any of the other nations that are on the earth? Why would he say the Jew first and the Gentile, or the Jew first and the Greek? Why not the African? Why not the Hamite? Right? Why not the Jebusite? Why not the Canaanites? Does he like Canaan now? All of a sudden, can Moab and Ammon come into the congregation now? You're not familiar with the law, so you can't know the New Testament. You have no idea why Christ talked to that Canaanite woman and he didn't answer her a word. They were like, "Get her out of here." And then he finally talked to her. How were the Israelites supposed to even deal with the Canaanites? Or were they supposed to love them? They were never supposed to deal with them. Hosea 1. Let's see who these Gentiles were. Hosea 1, starting at verse 10, it says, "Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered." Here goes what Paul is quoting verbatim. "And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God." That's literally what Paul just said in verse 24 and 25. "Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be of the sand of the sea, and it shall come to pass that it was said unto them, they are not my people." So this is the Gentiles that he's referring to in his books. They were no longer Jews in the covenant. They were of the Gentiles. because they have worshiped their gods. That's one way they became a Gentile. They got exiled from the people from breaking the law. That's another way they became a Gentile. They were getting ruled over for breaking God's laws, and then adapted the cultures and the customs of the people that ruled over them. The same thing we do right here in America. And they became Gentiles like that. It's a lot of ways they became Gentiles. But Paul is saying those are the Gentiles. Believe it or not. That's why you keep the precepts. That's why you don't read verse 23 and just make something up like they do. Verse 27, it says, Isaiah also cried concerning Israel, that the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, and a remnant shall be saved. That's verse 27 of Romans. Now, if a remnant is being saved, a remnant of the chosen, or a remnant, we all know that's a small amount. How does the entire body of the Christian church, which consists of over 2 billion people worldwide, how do all these Christians think salvation is for them? If only a remnant is going to be saved in the Old Testament, and a remnant is going to be saved in the New Testament. All the prophets, the apostles, and the people who even talk to God himself say that a remnant is going to be saved. What scriptures prove any of these things that says that the Gentiles are the lost sheep? I know your spirit getting you. Every time you touch my video, you're gonna get the truth, and I know it's gonna vex your spirit. But you're not gonna make the Lord's will be what you want it to be. I had to accept it too. It hurt my spirit too when I first heard it. You know what I'm saying? But it's not my will. So, 28. For he will finish the work. If he's finishing the work, what did the beginning of the work consist of? Him making a covenant with them. For he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness, because a short work will the Lord make upon the earth. He gonna destroy it like it ain't nothing. And as Isaiah said before, that's Isaiah, except the Lord of Sabaoth had left us a seed, we had been as Sodom and been made like unto Gomorrah. The Lord of the Sabbath, I believe. The Sabbath is spelled kind of wrong right here. It's spelled in the, I think it's spelled in the Greek. I believe that's what it's saying. Had left us a seed. We had been as Sodom and been made like unto Gomorrah. So unless there was a remnant, a chosen part of the seed left, if there wasn't that left, we would have been left like Sodom and Gomorrah. We would have been destroyed already. This is what he's saying. What shall we say? What shall we say then? Verse 30, that the Gentiles which followed not after righteousness have attained to righteousness, even the righteousness which is of faith. So even the Gentiles who broke the law and were cut for the covenant, but they attained through belief on Christ, they obtained righteousness, is what he's saying. But Israel, which followed after the law of righteousness, had not attained the law of righteousness, because they broke the law by not following Christ and believing Christ when he came in the flesh. When you read the law, I know people always say in Paul's writings, Christ is the end of the law, and they think he ended it. That's not what it says. It says Christ is the end of the law. The end of the law, the Most High says, I'm raising up a prophet among you, and you got to follow him. Well, he did that, and they didn't believe on him. Not all of them, because everywhere he went, he drew crowds and grew multitudes, and he healed a lot of people, and they believed. But all of them didn't. So because a good portion didn't, they all have to suffer for it now. That's all he's saying. So the Gentiles that got cut off, they were able to be redeemed back into the fold because they believed on Christ. And those that were still in Israel keeping the covenant, they lost righteousness because they broke the law by not believing on Christ. It's the faith and the works. You know what I'm saying? Christ is prophesied in the law to follow him. Hear ye him. So it didn't matter. Either way, they were all sinning. Verse 32 says, wherefore, because they sought it not by faith. See what I'm saying? They didn't seek it by faith. They sought it by works of the law. but they did not believe upon Christ and have faith in him. That's where they fell off, the ones that were actually doing the law perfectly. But Israel, which followed after the law of righteousness, had not attained the law of righteousness, because they broke the law by not following Christ. Wherefore, because they sought it not by faith, but as it were by the works of the law, for they stumbled at that stumbling stone. They stumbled at Christ. Right? As it is written, behold, I lay in Zion a stumbling stone and a rock of offense, and whosoever believeth on him shall not be ashamed. Whosoever where? In Zion, not in the world. Christ didn't leave Israel. He didn't go over there to China. He didn't go over there to Australia or South Africa. He didn't go these places. The stumbling stone was laid in Zion because that's where Christ was born, and the Jews were, the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. That's where they were. Now, the northern kingdom, when they came out of, I believe, the Assyrian captivity, when you read the Apocrypha, it said that they went to a place where no man ever dwelt. So a lot of the northern kingdom had not even heard of Christ in the time of Christ. So that's why they had to go and teach the word in all nations, because all the Israelites needed to hear about it. Not just Gentiles. Gentiles weren't even keeping the law. Gentiles were not even believing on Christ. Let me get a precept so you know I'm not playing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all think Paul wrote these letters and all of a sudden Gentiles believe. Man, get the heck out of here with that. Y'all not reading, man. Go to Acts 19. I'm going to show you about your Gentiles. Like I said, if you received this video, I believe in my heart and in my spirit that you are an Israelite. You just don't know it. And because according to the curses of Deuteronomy, you wouldn't know you were Israelites. You would not know Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? And that some imposters will have taken your custom and your heritage from you. This is all prophecy. Just start to think in that direction. You don't have to believe me. It's fine, man. Just start to begin to think like that. Acts 19. We're going to check on your Gentiles right now. Acts 19, starting at verse 24, it says, for a man named Demetrius, a silversmith, which made silver shrines for Diana, an idol, brought no small gain unto the craftsmen. So he worked with metals and silvers and golds and made idols, big glorious idols, right? Named Demetrius, whom he called together the workmen of like occupation. So he gathered all the people who did his same profession, working metals and golds and silvers, making idols, and said, sirs, ye know that by this craft we have our wealth. So because we do this amazing job making these beautiful idols, that's how we getting this bread. That's how we've been eating. You know what I'm saying? This is what he's saying to them. Verse 26, moreover, ye see and hear that not alone in Ephesus, but almost throughout all Asia, that's all your provinces, your Thessalonians, your Colossians, your Ephesus, your I guess Rome too, but it's not necessarily in Asia. But everywhere Paul put his feet is what he's saying. Moreover, ye see and hear that not alone in Ephesus, but almost throughout all Asia, this Paul guy, this freaking Paul, had persuaded and turned away much people, because the Israelites were in all these places. That's where they served captivity, saying that there be no gods which are made with hands. So Paul is in all these places, Ephesus, rebuking these false gods. Listen to what the Gentiles are saying. So that not only this our craft is in danger and set to be at naught, but also that the temple of the great goddess Diana should be despised and her magnificence should be destroyed, whom all Asia and the world worshipped. All Asia and the world worshipped Diana, an idol. And when they heard these sayings, they were full of wrath. Who? The Gentiles. And cried out, saying, great is Diana of the Ephesians. So show me anywhere in the scriptures where the world repented and began to believe on Christ. I'll wait on that. There were some Greeks who believe, I believe in the scriptures, it said the Greeks showed up to the Passover. Well, if you knew the law, you know foreigners can't keep the Passover. You know what I'm saying? If they were Greeks, they were being called as a byword, but they were circumcised and they were in the and they were of the chosen seed if they kept the Passover. Period. Ain't no foreigners keeping no Passover. You're not coming from Greece as a Grecian and think you finna come to the Passover. You got to know the law, people. So you got to show me where the world repented and began to believe on Christ, and you ain't gonna find that. And the Greek Empire began with the reign of the Edomites. There's too many books that prove this, and believe me, that's when all the evil really start multiplying in the earth. You know, these were not righteous people. They had idols. Hell, actually, Christianity is a merger of Greek idolatry and the covenant of the Hebrews. Why you think in the Catholic Church it has idols all over that? That is totally against the law. The Most High said, do not do that. You see, I have no form, so don't try to make an image unto me or anything in heaven or on earth or anything to worship it, because I'm jealous. I will kill you, in other words. You got to read the law. If you don't know the law, you don't know nothing. So let me go to 1 Maccabees real quick. This is during the Greek captivity, right after they came out of the Persian and Mede captivity, Persian Mede Empire. This is still the time of the Gentiles. 1 Maccabees 1, starting at 1, and it says, and it came to pass that after Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chetam, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persian and Medes of that empire, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. This is the beginning of their empire. And went through the ends of the earth and took the spoils of many nations. So he robbed them, taking everything, symbolic of what Edomites do, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. So they were a strong empire. The world was quiet. Nobody had no plex with them, in other words, because they saw they were not going to win against this mighty nation that was in rulership, the Grecians. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. So they paid him tributes, taxes. They was taxing everybody because he ruled. It was his kingdom. Hell, it's still his kingdom right now. After these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. This is still talking about Alexander, the son of Philip, Alexander the Great, Alexander the Greek, however you want to say it. This is him. Alexander, that's where the Greek Empire started. The white man, in other words. After these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So he knew he was dying, so he went and got all his partners, all his homeboys that he grew up with, and they parted his kingdom among them. Right? 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule every one in his place. So it was a split kingdom, split rulership. Right? And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. So no, they weren't believing on Christ. This is before the time of Christ, but they weren't keeping no laws, the commandments, and didn't give a damn to want to be like unto the Israelites. In fact, when you continue reading in the Maccabees, that it was illegal to call yourself a Greek, not a Greek, but a Jew, and to perform the customs that were given to them by the Most High. And if you did it, you got killed. You also had a portion of Israelites who looked up to these heathens that were ruling over and wanted to be like them. Isn't that symbolic of a time we're living in right now? That you got a certain group of people that are being ruled over who want to be like the people that rule over them, and willing to look down on people, their own people. Nothing new under the sun, right? So Most High hates Edom. He hates Edomites. He's going to destroy them. And let's get a prophecy on that in the Apocrypha. This is 2nd Ezra 6, starting at 1. I'm giving you a lot of context here. I can go right to the point, but I want you to get the context. That Ezra is literally talking to God. This is a prophet. It's spelled Esdras because it's Greek, written in Greek, translated from Greek. Written in Hebrew, translated to the Greek, translated to the English. And he said unto me, in the beginning, when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, or over the winds blew, before it thundered and lightened, or ever the foundations of paradise were laid, before the fair flowers were seen, or ever the movable powers were established, before the innumerable multitude of angels were gathered together, or ever the heights of the air were lifted up, before the measures of the firmament were named, or ever the chimneys in Zion were hot, and are the present years were sought out, or ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned, before they were sealed that have gathered faith for treasure. Then I did consider these things, and they all were made through me alone, and through none other. And by me also they shall be ended, and by none other. And I answered and said, what shall be the parting asunder of times? What shall be the end of times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, of Isaac, Jacob first held the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The whole Bible is the battle of the birthrights between these two nations. Everybody else is just a part of the cast. But it's all about these two nations that have been warring back and forth over the covenant that was given by the Most High God. Edomites are in rulership right now. Jacob, the people that come from Jacob, are being ruled over. And the end of the current world is when Christ, who comes through the line of Judah, comes back with his angels through the power of the Father, the highest, absolutely obliterates this last kingdom, which is ruled by Edomites. And then Christ will begin to rule forever. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So, I hope you got edified. That was my breakdown of chapter 9. I guess if you got any questions, you can put it in the comment section. Salvation's for the chosen seed. And if any Gentiles think they should have any part of the covenant, first you need to know who the children are, and then you need to be amongst them. And maybe, just maybe, you may make it out of that thing. Because as it says in the book of Acts, it says, to you and whosoever among you that feareth God. Notice what the caveat is in that statement. And I'm not going to make myself around, I'm not bringing myself around other nations. I'm just not doing it me. I'm trying to make sure that my election is sealed. I'm fearing God with trembling every day. I'm keeping his words on my mind every day. The things that I enjoy on this earth, I'm not making it a habit to go do those things. You know what I'm saying? I'm waking up with the covenant on my mind and the scriptures on my mind and the law and the faith on my mind. You should do that too. But I'm not going to judge you. I did my job. I'm telling you what you need to do. If you don't do it, you don't do it. But only a remnant are coming out of this thing. You got to make that decision yourself. So at the end, all praises, honor, and glory go to the Father, the highest, and only him shall you praise. Thus saith the Christ, who we call Jesus. Praises and honor go to the Messiah as well, who will be the ruler of the world in the kingdom to come, and that kingdom is going to last forever. Thus saith the Lord power. Hope y'all have a great day.